claim that they have to hire skilled workers from overseas because Americans aren't qualified.
We should lift the cap on H-1B visas.
Yes.
We want to bring the smartest, most talented, high-skilled laborers from all over the world here to invest in science, technology, and engineering.
But why not teach? Let's be realistic. In this country, people can come from another country and be prioritized in ways that we never got to be prioritized at all. So there's a lot.
You guys are tuned into the topic that's shaking up the world, MAGE. The issue of government deficiency and the search for skilled workers, whether they are American or foreign. Let's take a deep look at Vivek and Musk's analysis on this very important topic of the moment. Musk and Vivek hired foreigners because Americans aren't qualified. Is that right? Let's understand the truth.
There is a growing split in MAGA world after the co-chairs of the newly made-up Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, claim that they have to hire skilled workers from overseas because Americans aren't qualified. Vivek posted that he blames an American culture that celebrates the jock over the valedictorian, and that our kids need more math tutoring and fewer sleepovers. Now, an op-ed in USA Today yesterday agreed with him, saying all we need is an American version of the Tiger Mom to prioritize learning so that the solution to our education issues are taken care of that way. I'm sorry. Look, if you paid teachers to teach all of these skills you want people to have, for me, the majority of the H-1B employers, including major U.S. tech firms, use the program to pay migrant workers well below the market wages. 60% of H-1B positions certified by the U.S. Department of Labor are assigned wage levels well below the local median wage for the occupation.
The reality is that to maintain our global leadership, we need skilled workers, regardless where they come from, whether American or foreign. And Musk and Vivek recognize that to compete with powers like India and China, we do need to open our doors to more qualified workers. True talents.
I don't understand how that, if you're not going to pay people what they need to live in this country, how do you think this is going to work?
Well, part of that is because the employers sponsor the visas, which have an incurred cost. So I've worked on this issue for a long time. I actually feel very strongly and agree with Elon Musk and Donald Trump's position he eventually came to, which is also Joe Biden's position, which is we should lift the cap on H-1B visas.
Yes.
We want to bring the smartest, most talented, high-skilled laborers from all over the world here to invest in science, technology, and engineering.
But why not teach our people? Why not train our people?
At the same time, we are falling behind in STEM fields, and China is outpacing us, India is outpacing us, because I think we as a culture and a society, I don't really agree with the Vivek of it. You need to be a whole person who has a social life and all those things. But we need to tell kids when they're young, you could try to be a pro athlete, but the likelihood is like less than 2% you're going to make it big. If you go into STEM fields and you apply yourself, the median income is $100,000. These are high-paying jobs that also are jobs where you can change the world. This is medicine, technology, engineering, everything we see coming out of Silicon Valley.
But you do know that what we say to our kids is you can do some things. There are some things you can't do. Young women were never encouraged to go into the sciences.
Bringing in international talent doesn't mean we're giving up on Americans, no, but rather that we're strengthening our job market. And by attracting brilliant minds from all over the world, we boost innovation and create more opportunities here, even in the heart of the United States. American education does need reform, but how can we do that effectively?
There are mindsets that have to change in order to make this work. And they have to start with the people who are paying people to educate our kids. You have to pay the people to teach them. Forget going into sports. How about learning plumbing, learning electronics? There are trades that we don't have people to fulfill.
So this Vivek says that the Americans are too stupid?
No.
Does he know who he's working for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
wait a second. Donald Trump It's his professor at Penn, wherever he went, says he was the dumbest student he ever had.
In decades.
The bees on these guys to go out there and say Americans are stupid when they cut education, they want to get rid of the educational department.
Yes.
As you say, they don't pay teachers enough. I was one. I was underpaid.
I don't defend Vivek, but I don't think he was saying Americans are stupid. He was saying we're prioritizing
Yes,
the wrong
he is.
thing.
And that's why MAGA's mad. Because they say, oh, listen, guys, we're going to get rid of immigrants and you're all going to have the jobs. And now they're saying, never mind, you're not smart enough to do the job.
I agree that education is crucial, but we need to be pragmatic, right? And while we improve our system, we must recognize the global competition, which demands immediate solutions. And how can culture influence our position on the global stage? Check out this analysis.
And the difference in how families are raised when they often come in under immigrants, my own husband is first generation, they have a different mentality to the privilege of being in this country that I think Americans sometimes take for granted. It doesn't make people stupid, but I do think he makes a good point. We absolutely socially, not every family and not everyone in this room, we do revere the social popularity of the shows versus the mathlete. That's the joke in the movies.
Yeah.
The kids that my kids are running around with right now, their families, and my family did this too here in the US, but these families really emphasize the academic side of their lives in a way that can influence other people really well. I think the point he was making is, America first, this is where MAGA got it wrong. Yeah. When they were talking about specializing in jobs and manufacturing, keeping companies here, they meant America first. Some of these jobs they're talking about on these visas are highly specialized. Yeah. So if my kid loses out to a really smart kid that gave up their childhood to go to math camp, so be it, because they're more qualified for that. Yeah. I don't want my kids to be those.
Why should they be paid?
I don't think they should be paid less.
This is the point. And also, let's be realistic.
Vivek touches on a vital point, the culture of merit and academic excellence, which should be encouraged. We need a mindset that values intellectual achievements while preparing our youth for the future. So the question is, are immigrants part of the solution for a stronger workforce? Let's see how.
The issue that I see is that he blames Tiger. He's saying we should be like Tiger moms. It's a societal problem. It's not up to the individual mother. It's up to the educational system. So stop blaming the mother.
Because I disagree that this is a cultural issue and that only immigrants come here and work harder.
I didn't say only. No,
that's not what she meant. But go ahead.
But you know, I taught my kids that their average must be excellent as Black kids in these United States. That was my teaching. I think that education is the great equalizer. And, you know, if you look at the stats, the jobless rate for people with a bachelor's degree is less than 3%. People with a bachelor's degree earn more than 68% than people with a high school diploma. Those are just the facts. And the problem that I have is to your point, Joy, the Republican Party wants to get rid of the Department of Education. The Republican Party is not interested in making sure that our country is more educated than, let's say, some of the folks coming out of China.
By prioritizing the arrival of more qualified professionals, we are investing in the economic growth of the United States. These individuals, for example, bring innovations that help create jobs. But how do we balance education and immigration for the future of the United States? You won't believe what they said?
I don't understand why we should raise the cap on HB1 visas. And I think what we really need to do is educate our children, our young adults.
Right now, a Republican bill that exists in the Senate is supposed to give transparency to people going into college about what degrees actually make them money when they leave. Because we tell them, just real quick, as long as you get a bachelor's degree, it's fine. Well, no, your philosophy degree is not necessarily going to pay as much as your STEM degree. And vocational education is huge. We undermine trades in this country. That is the backbone of this country.
But
a lot of plumbers are going to make more than people with bachelor's
because
degrees.
they have made this division now in schools and said, you know, if you got in because you were Black or you got in because you were poor. So a lot of folks who might have been going towards those jobs have been now removed.
Well, they're having people. 60 Minutes did a report in 2017 where they had a Black engineer who was being forced out of his job, who was completely qualified for an HB1 visa person, and actually he was offered more money if he were to train his replacement, who was going to be paid less.
Wow.
And that's what's going on in this country.
Well, there's a lot of conversations that need to be had, but none of them should start with the stupidity of anyone in this country. You should not be referring to people as dumb or the R word as people have been throwing around. That is not okay, because that's not helpful. If you want to be helpful to Americans, tell them what they can do in order to qualify for these jobs. To just say you're not smart enough doesn't work for us anymore.
They don't want to do that. You know why they don't want to do that? Because these billionaires want an underclass.
You're kind of arguing the Steve Bannon point of it, because that's what some of MAGA thinks, is that no, we should only focus on prioritizing American workers. The side that's kind of winning out, the Elon take, is we need to bring the smartest people from all over the world, so the best companies come here, so they hire more. We want to do that.
So here's what's happening.
I wanted to, not my favorite person, but I wanted to clarify what Vivek Ramaswamy said. He said, this is not about an innate American IQ deficit. He's not saying Americans aren't as bright. He's saying that there are so many people around the globe who are prioritizing fields that we just do not encourage our kids and especially our young girls to get into. And we need more women in STEM, because that is the future. All jobs are shifting. They're shifting to AI. They're shifting to technology.
I'm just going to say, Vivek.
The truth is that we need a dual approach, reforming our educational system while welcoming foreign talents. Vivek and Musk are right. We need a global perspective for a more prosperous future.
That's what you should have said, because what came out and the way that I took it, because I heard it when they first said it, and I was a little annoyed with them, because listen, you painted us with one brush. Don't do that. It is not a cultural thing, because not everybody prioritizes that. People who don't have access to the kinds of jobs that they want to have, their priority is to figure out, how do I find the best job I can get? People who are prioritizing differently from big city people, it's a different thing. So please don't paint us all with the same swath.
What I'm struck with is that Trump ran on, let's get all the immigrants out of the country so that Americans can get the jobs. And now they're saying, oh, sorry, you can't do the job.
Right.
Trump, so whatever. Yeah. I know it's specific.
Well, that's why the divide is there.
Yeah, but the lie was that we're going to get rid of the immigrants so that you will have more jobs.
And now they're saying you can't.
It's a little more complex than that.
When Trump said he loves the poorly educated, well, give the poorly educated the jobs then.
It's a little more broad than that, because it's been a long-held Republican position that we support high-skilled labor coming into the U.S., but we think that we want to prioritize American jobs. If you keep the Silicon Valleys and these rising emerging technology industries,
recognizing the importance of global talent does not diminish the American citizen, no. On the contrary, it only elevates our potential as a nation. But why does the competition with countries like China and India require immediate solutions? Check out what they said next. Don't miss this answer.
Industries building out their companies here, that is more jobs for Americans. But that's down the road. But that sometimes means you need engineers from elsewhere coming in.
Why can't
in the national defense space.
I think they should fix what they pay them. I think equalize the pay. It should not be you have an American worker and someone coming in on a visa and you can get them to work for less. I don't agree with that. But if you are bringing in the best and most qualified, I agree they should come from anywhere.
But you can't legislate how much people are going to make.
I just don't understand the notion that we cannot educate our communities enough to qualify.
You can
for
do
these
both
jobs.
at the same time. That's for 1,000 reasons. We don't pay teachers. We don't have supplies. We don't have school buildings.
Fix that.
Agreed, but you have to do both at the same time, because the country, the world is moving.
There's also a national security imperative, not to make it like too highfalutin, but that is the biggest thing. We want to be able to compete with China now. We can't wait till 20 years from now to fix our education system.
We've been saying we need education for everybody.
Yeah. And
when
free
you're
education.
picking and choosing who gets educated in this country, how well they get educated, there's a problem. Because if you're not looking at your schools as one big group of education, if you're not going to do that and you're going to say, no, we're not going to give money over here, or we're going to give money over here, then you have a problem.
Global competition doesn't wait, right? We need to act now to ensure that the United States leads in innovation and technology. And by attracting the best, we are indeed building a stronger and safer future for everyone. You just checked out another half-dozen distorted opinions from DeVille, right? The truth is that the decision to attract talent from around the world is a strategic step to ensure the leadership of the United States, The United States is a strategic step to ensure the leadership of the United States in a competitive global landscape. And if you agree with Musk's analysis, Vivek, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and leave your comments here. Thank you all for your comments, and see you at our next meeting.